Greetings and various assorted salutations. This is a tutorial for mainly intended for my U.S. history classes. It's a kind of how to do offline work on assignments in the event that you're away from the internet for extended periods of time, or you just have difficulty accessing the internet outside of the schoolhouse. This is a way to get some assignments done out of class. This coordinates with a document that I'll be publishing on limited internet access working offline tips. So there is written instructions for this as well. Um, as a general rule of thumb, with assignments working on them offline, it requires prep work on you, the student, to set up to do this correctly and effectively. Essentially, what you have to do is you have to look at what is the assignment and if it can be easily converted into something you can work on offline. Some examples of assignments that easily convert would be assignments that use glossaries or textbook readings. Reading assignments convert the easiest. Things with video are not as likely to convert to offline work as easily at this time. Likewise, tests and quizzes, the way they are currently configured in this course, they will not work as well. They will not work at all offline. So using that information when you're planning what you're going to do, look at what stuff has to be done online and consider doing that during work time in class, and what can be done offline. You'll be using in-class time to set up to do offline. So it takes a bit of prep work, but it can be done. So to walk you through some of the ways that this works, what I'm going to do is show you a very stable, easy to do way of getting an assignment, materials for an assignment offline for your ability to work. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take stuff from Canvas, resources from Canvas, and we're going to put them into our computer's hard drive so that when our computer's off the internet, we can access things and work on them. And then the next time you're online, you can then turn stuff in online. So what I'm going to use for an example is a virtual student notebook. And to do virtual student notebooks, usually you need a glossary, portions of the textbook, and the virtual student notebook itself to fill out. So I've already made a copy of the virtual student notebook I need to fill out. And so there's several ways of doing this. Perhaps one of the easiest ways is to grab the document and convert it into a Word document. Now, there are a variety of ways of doing this. You can actually go in, click File, and click Make Available Offline. That does work. This is a simpler method if you are a student, you don't have the file permissions to like put your Google Drive onto your computer, things like that. But what you can do is you can click download, and select Microsoft Word document. That would work fine. And that will download down here. Let's open that document. Alrighty, let's put it up here. Now you will have to enable editing. And when you hit download, unless you specified it to do it somewhere else, it will go to the downloads folder. But as you can see here, now you have a digital and a Microsoft Word version of this document. And you can now fill it in after you hit enable editing, as I just did. And this is one way you can get the assignments, is if it's a Google Doc, you can convert it into a Microsoft Word document and use it that way. And then when it comes time to turn it in, you can actually just upload the document. I'll show you what it looks like in Canvas to do that. Let me get it in student view. So like if you do this assignment in Word because you downloaded it to work on offline, you can hit submit assignment. And instead of website URL like you'd normally use for a Google Doc or Google Drive, you just do file upload and you upload the file you just completed. And that would be a perfectly acceptable way of turning it in. I'm not as concerned with the format you turn assignments in. I'm more concerned with the content because I teach history, not technology. It just so happens that I need to teach a certain amount of technology so that we can learn the history. So it works out that way. Now I'm going to show you how to find the files that you download on your computer. So as you just saw, when I hit when I hit the button that said download as a Word document, it opened up automatically. I'm going to show you how to access the files again so that you can use them. And so what you would do is there may be a folder down here. You can click on that, or you can click Start, and then you can click on this folder thing right here. It may take a second to load, and then your files will appear in here, and likely it'll be in the Downloads section. So we're going to go click on this, and as you can see, the Virtual Student Notebook is right there, and you can open it from here. It'll be in the Downloads folder. This is where files automatically download to. If you create documents, like if I were to create a Microsoft Word document and start filling it out, you would likely save it to Documents. But since we are downloading folders or files, they are going into the Downloads. Now, you're going to need some resources to actually fill out the Virtual Student Notebook. And so let's go into the Virtual Student Notebook and find out what those resources are. In my assignments, I will always try and list what resources will help you complete the assignment. So if we look in here under Westward Expansion Unit Introduction Resources, you can see that we need topic 10.2, topic 6.1, and topic 6.3 in the textbook. And then also there's a video. My recommendation if you're doing this, watch the video in class during work time, and then download the copies of these different things to help you out. Let's go get a copy of these different sections and the glossary so that we can work on this assignment. So what you will have to do is in Canvas, where you'll have to go is you will need to go into the online textbook for a resource. There's several ways to get to it, but a quick way that always works is if you go into Modules. And then if you go into here, you have the U.S. History textbook is here. And then the offline and online glossaries are here. The way the textbook is, the PDFs for the textbook are made is they're separated by topics. So if you recall, we needed topic 10 and topic 6. Actually, within those topics, you're only using very specific sections. But if you refer to the textbook instructions, you can figure out how those sections work. And so what we would do is we would click on, let's grab topic 10, because we use that for one of them. So this opens it up. And what we will do is we will click Download. And as you can see, it popped up here. It's right there. Then if we go into our downloads, it should appear in here. It looks like we might have to refresh. And you see it's right here. I've apparently downloaded it more than once. Anyways, but that's how you can get it in here. It's in the downloads folder because that's where stuff automatically downloads to. Downloads to the download folder. Going over to the glossary, as you can see, it says click here. And it will auto download. Sometimes you have to choose to download a file, and other times you just have to click download here. I've configured it as to work that way. And then if you go into the downloads folder, you can see here, I'll need to refresh it. You've got the glossary, a copy of the chapter you need, and the Virtual Student Notebook. And what you'll do is you'll fill out the Virtual Student Notebook, look up the terms, work on that part. And that's the idea behind this setup. But no, so the general tips I have is if you want to do stuff offline, you have to prepare. You need all the resources and the assignment you're working on first before you can go offline. and that way you can actually work on stuff. One thing that is worth noting is the e-learning Fridays. There isn't a whole lot of work time built into those days, following the 30-minute schedule, 30-minute period schedule. So you may not get as much done on the e-learning Fridays offline as you would like necessarily, but this is a way to do things offline. This is useful for if we go to level 3 and you have limited internet access. This is good for e-learning Fridays. You can use Monday through Thursday to pull the resources you need and plan out what you're working on. And this is also useful if you're in activities and you're doing the bus ride and you don't know what your internet setup's going to look like as you're going and, well, winning sports and different activities for our school. So if you have questions about this, you can always ask me in class. This is a fairly complicated thing with the first few times you do it, but the idea behind it is fairly straightforward. You're pulling resources beforehand and then using the time you're away from things to work on them. So in any case, I do hope this helps, and until later.